Welcome to part 3 of what if Jujutsu Kaisen characters were turned into Pokemon, and today we've got a huge lineup of villains from the Jujutsu series turned into Pokemon, 12 of them in fact. And on top of that, we've got a special surprise Pokemon that comes highly requested by you guys. I wonder who that could be. As always, a huge shout out to the artist thepanio that makes this video even possible. Their links are in the pinned comments down below, and the first Pokemon in today's video is this little guy, Banshee, the ghost-type bandaged Pokemon based on Mechamaru. This design draws in inspiration from traditional haunted marionettes, with its single peering eyes suggesting a sense of curiosity and mischief. It's said that Banshee lurk in abandoned theaters, absorbing the residual emotions left by audiences long after they've gone, which fits this Pokemon so well, to say the least. But once your Banshee maxes out its friendship and levels up during the night, it'll evolve into Mechi, the ghost steel type Pokemon based on the puppets that Mechamaru uses to navigate the world of sorcerers himself. Its wooden frame and green eyes are reminiscent of ancient guardians that this Pokemon can totally pass for. It's said that Mechi like to wander ancient ruins, manipulating metal debris to fortify its wooden body. And this Pokemon's hidden ability, Heavy Metal, can really shift the tide in battle by doubling its weight. But that's only the first villain in today's video, and next up is one of my favorite characters in the anime turned into a Pokemon. Introducing Chote, the dark flying type battling Pokemon, based on Choso, a very complicated character to say the least. But I must say, one of my all-time favorites. Chote hide in dark crevices of caves, with its face always obscured. It listens intently to the heartbeats of its prey, striking silently from the shadows. Kinda like a vampire, which totally makes sense with Choso's whole blood manipulation and all. But once your Pokemon reaches level 20, it'll evolve into Chobod, the dark flying type Pokemon. Now, this is the second stage of this line and suggests that we're definitely getting a bipedal bat, which I'm a huge fan for. With its eyes wide open and body ready to pounce, Chobod is a fearsome predator under the moonlight. It uses its legs to launch sudden attacks from above. Still a hunter in the dark, I would definitely suggest approaching this Pokemon with caution. But if you wanted to check out this Pokemon's final stage, well then just introduce Chobod to a Dusk Stone, and it'll evolve into Chosonus, the dark poison type Pokemon. And now we've got the signature Choso look, as well as a bit of blood manipulation powers. This Pokemon also gets some new notable abilities that make it quite interesting with Corrosion and Poison Touch. Definitely some competitive viability there. Chosonus ruled the night skies, exuding a toxic aura that corrupts everything it touches. It manipulates plasma to create striking patterns that lure and disorient its foes. A Pokemon that I definitely want on my Sorceran Pokemon team. Next up is a fan favorite villain, and that's this Pokemon. Meet Usagito, the poison ghost type stitched Pokemon, based on the cursed spirit Mahito himself. It's got the same stitch patterns as Mahito, as well as some ghostly hands that have a corrosive touch to them. But one of the coolest things in this Pokemon's kit is its hidden ability, which before now has always been Zoroark's signature ability. But now Usagito having illusion just makes complete sense, don't you think? It haunts hospitals, stitching itself with remnants of discarded materials. It casts spectral hands that manipulate and mislead its unwary victims. Man, these scary ghostly Pokemon are no joke, that's for sure. But now let's check out one of the coolest, most unique Pokemon in this region, and that's Gecko, the psychic fighting typed Aura Fist Pokemon. Now, this Pokemon is based off Suguro Geto before he got all mind hacked, and is pretty much just a Pokemon that channels mystic energies through its fists, striking with blows that resonate spiritually. It seeks worthy opponents to test its mettle in battle. Nothing too crazy here, and I did say it was the coolest, most unique Pokemon, and there's a reason for that. That's because Gecko does have an evolution that requires a specific interaction with another Pokemon of this region. That Pokemon being Kbros, the ghost psychic type Pokemon, who's based off of the 1,000-year-old spirit Kenjaku, head of the Kamo clan, and one of my least favorite characters because that dude's a literal sociopath. But anyway, this Pokemon's stats are pretty weak and doesn't have much of a moveset by itself. In fact, it's said that Kbros floats eerily, its malevolent gaze penetrating the minds of those around it. It manipulates psychic energy to bend the minds of its hosts. And that's where this Pokemon and the previous Pokemon's interactions for a new evolution start to begin. You see, if your Gecko is fainted in a party with a Kbros as well in your party, and you visit a Pokemon Center to heal your Pokemon, well then, the nurse returns your Pokemon back to you, except now you're missing a Kbros, and it looks like your Gecko has evolved into Geckosian, the psychic ghost type Pokemon. One of the coolest concepts I've ever seen, hands down. It's got a new signature ability being Shadow Shield, which is pretty much a Marvel skill, allowing this Pokemon to take less damage when at full health, and its dex entry states that when Gecko and Kbros fuse to become Geckosian, they command spectral forces with unmatched authority, which is why that spectral beast hovering around it looks awfully like a Spiritomb Unbound. Speaking of Unbound, I think it's time to show off the King of Curses himself. Introducing Sulers, the dark ghost type cursed finger Pokemon, and this is its sealed form. Think of Hoopa Confined. A very similar concept, and this Pokemon is based on the King of Curses Sakuna himself, or rather his cursed objects. It's said that Sulers are bound by ancient curses, each part of its form representing the fragmented power of a fearsome demon. It lurks in shadows, awaiting the chance to regain its true form and unleash chaos. And now many of you might be wondering, how do you unleash this chaos and this Pokemon's true form? Well, with the help of a special item known as the Cursed Relic. However, this isn't an item that you can just give your Pokemon to hold. Instead, it's locked away until you, the player, can catch 10 Cursed Fingers. Once you do, you can trade 9 of them for the item, and then your main Sulers can interact with the relic and unleash absolute carnage. Introducing Sulers Unbound, the King of Curses. Upon transforming, Sulers Unbound becomes a towering force of destruction. Its 4 arms capable of ripping dimensions to shreds, and it's said that its reawakening could herald an era of darkness for the world. Truly a frightening king of beasts. And speaking of beasts, you already know I had to bring my boy Toji into the mix. Introducing Zenor, the dark fighting type curseless Pokemon based on Toji Fushiguro himself, one of the most badass characters that truly deserves an entire series just dedicated to himself. Now, this design is what I call peak design, using what is commonly known as Slowbro's tail to store all of their cursed weaponry, which is akin to the show itself, really. It's said that Zenor carries the remnants of cursed spirits, using them to enhance its own power. Renowned for its brute strength and agility, it fights relentlessly, turning the tide of battle with its ferocious spirit. Definitely a Pokemon one would need while navigating this region. And now the moment you've all been waiting for, the special, very much asked for character to turn into a Pokemon is finally here. Introducing Kuda, the normal type based Pokemon, because I mean just look at this dude, doesn't have a care in the world, and there's probably a reason for it. Now, this Pokemon is based on the OP character Yuta himself, who honestly, I think is truly the MC of Jujutsu Kaisen. Kuda often appeared disinterested in its surroundings, spending much of its day lounging around in sunny spots. Despite its lethargic demeanor though, it is surprisingly alert when provoked. But let's take this Pokemon to new heights, because once you max out its friendship, it'll evolve into Kyutajin, the normal ghost type Pokemon. Now being accompanied by a cursed spirit of their own, this Pokemon is on a whole new level. Kyutajin awakens a fierce spirit hidden within its tail, bursting into battle with ghostly energy. It protects its territory with a blend of cunning tricks and swift shadowy strikes. It's also got a new unique ability called Curse Touch that has a chance of cursing the opponent when making contact. Now you might be thinking, oh, it's like Curse Body, and no, it's not like Curse Body. Instead, like the move Curse that rips a quarter of the target's health every turn. Truly a devastating ability for a fantastic Jujutsu based Pokemon. But that's pretty much it. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below, and in the meantime, check out one of these videos for more amazing anime characters turned into Pokemon.